B, 8, use and parking of more than one commercial vehicle for business use. That's it.
Mr. Almeida or a representative there?
Yes, sir.
Please step up to the podium, state your case.
Manny Almeida, 8 White Rose Lane, Acushnet. I'm asking for special permit to 2 trucks.
Two more trucks?
No, just 2.
A total of 2.
Total of 2. And 2 trailers and the temporary of mulch for the season, from March to October.
Okay, your application, before you go any further, your application doesn't request that.
There's no request
There's no request for storage of materials on your
Mulch.
application. And so what we're gonna vote on tonight is,
just the trucks.
that's all it's asking for.
Okay, that's fine.
Now, I hate to make you go back and have to pay another fee to ask for the materials storage.
I put that. I don't know why they don't submit it.
They submitted it according to your application. Your application requests one,
Yeah, doesn't show.
more than one commercial vehicle. Doesn't say anything about storage of materials here.
This is a letter from the building. It
Says the one
remove
commercial
all
vehicle.
exterior materials.
And other equipment.
Right.
Not
No,
materials.
the
Materials and equipment, yeah.
So, and in the bylaw it specifically says you can't have outside material storage.
Yeah.
In, what is this bylaw? Customary home occupation. Within that bylaw, it states you can't have any outside materials stored
It's fine.
Without
without
the special permit.
and you're limited to the size and what you can do with that.
Okay.
So, I understand what you're trying to do. I got a bunch of questions because
It's fine.
I'm a little confused. I see that the
You too, I'm
application,
confused.
the
You,
application suggests that your building is 30 by 40. Is that your residence? But your submitted engineered plan is not the same size.
That's probably a ship container where I storage my.
No.
my
No. Your submitted plan, engineered plan, shows a dwelling on this property. I think it says 28 by,
32 by 40?
like,
40.
28 by 40 on the plan. That's a registered plan.
Gotcha.
Your application says 32 by 40. Now, which is it?
I mean,
What is the extra line? And you say registered plan, but they're saying 28, and then there's another line to it. That could be a 4-foot old addition or something.
I don't know what that, there's no numbers there.
No.
It's
You
only
know what I'm
showing,
saying? There's a box, 2840.
Yeah.
And then there's another line, which could easily be a
Right.
4-foot addition.
it could be, but it doesn't state any dimensions on the plan. It's certified by the engineer.
I don't think that has anything to do with the whole proposal of what we're looking for here.
That shows setbacks of 27 feet by, let me see, the other one is
38.
38.
that's probably my house.
Right, the house, correct.
That's the house, and that's, I asked the permit for a ship container.
Yeah, but that's not in your application either. That's something you can deal with the building inspector with.
No, I have that, the permit already.
It is listed here, the residence and the 8x40 container.
You already have the container there?
Yes.
So you're not requesting anything?
No,
from it
no,
anyway?
the
Okay.
the
That's fine.
containers.
Because that doesn't have any setbacks on the plan either, and that's movable.
Yes.
Mike? First question, if I can, through you. I believe the reason we're probably here is because there was a complaint. It was already in use, and he was asked to remove of this stuff. So it was already being used for a business prior to being here. So I'm assuming we have some complaints from the neighbors. I think I get what he wants to do. I don't think I have a lot of questions. I'd rather hear from what the issues are on the property from the neighbors.
We're gonna get to the neighbors in a minute. I'm just trying to verify what's on this plan versus what's on this application, because what he's asking for is his opening statement was 2 trucks total, so he's looking
An
for a
additional vehicle,
second,
yeah.
second commercial vehicle. The trailers don't matter. The trailers aren't included, they're
Our trailers
included.
is a man, okay.
It's only the vehicle itself, okay? So if you're looking for requesting one additional
One additional truck.
truck,
And it's just like a spare truck, I don't use them every day.
Right.
It's just-
And the building inspector told you to remove the mulch?
Yes,
has that been done?
and it's everything clean.
Okay, it's all clean back there?
Yes, sir, everything is clear.
All right, that was one of my questions too, okay?
When I went by, it was all there.
I
About 5
did,
days ago.
5 days ago?
Yeah.
No, it's been more than that, it's clean, everything is
okay.
clear.
Well, we've been neighbors here, we can find out.
It's fine, yeah, it's clear.
If there was nobody here, it wouldn't make an issue. But and I'm not sure where that comes from in landscaping. I mean, the storage of mulch, I mean, to me, doesn't make a big deal, but it's in the bylaw, so we have to apply
No,
what the
I
bylaw
understand.
says, okay?
I understand.
So,
Storage of mulch isn't the issue, it's storage of mulch that you're buying and selling that's an issue.
it's a transfer station.
Correct.
I usually buy it by the trailer. It's no people going in there and retail selling.
And I understand.
Just for my customers.
I understand, but it's still a truth being used as a transfer station, which is not allowed,
I understand.
okay? So I don't know where you're gonna get your mulch from next year, but the building inspector's gonna keep his eyes open.
It's fine, it's
If
the way it is.
if what's in front of us tonight is just adding one more commercial vehicle, we're gonna listen to the neighbors, see what they got to say,
Okay.
and then we'll probably make a decision.
That's
If I can
fine.
think of anything. Anybody else got any questions before I go to the neighbors?
Nope, nope, I just stay with.
I just could say I've been in there for 26 years, never have complaints.
Okay,
Talk to the other neighbors, they don't have no complaints at all.
we're gonna soon find out. Okay. Anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this?
I want to speak.
Please come on up, state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Claire Patello. I reside at 9 Wild Rose Lane. Our property abuts his property. There's not just one load of mulch. There's 5 or 6 loads of mulch that he gets delivered every year. He has to go over our property to get to this. Our house is decreased in value because of the mulch and the storage containers. We have trucks coming down to deliver the mulch. We do have people knocking on our door to buy the mulch because they think it's ours, the way, I think you probably have a plot plan. The way that looks, it looks like it's my land, so they're knocking on our door. And this, as far as the storage container, he's got stuff in that storage. He's got gas, he's got, I think it's a hazard. He has moved it, I will give him that, closer to his property, but the whole, he just got rid of the mulch, and that was because somebody must have said something to him. But if you look outside now, there's still tires, there's still, old gas can, there's stuff on that side that you can still see. So he hasn't, I
Not
think.
very nice in a residential neighborhood.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. I look out my window and that's what I see. And like I say, we didn't have a big issue until we went to have the house evaluated, and then we were told that our house is a decrease, and I have a halfway decent house. To have a decrease in value kind of hurts, because we kind of keep up with the house.
Yeah, sure does.
And like I said, we've been there for over 30 years, and we like the neighborhood. We don't want to leave the neighborhood. It's nice, it's a cul-de-sac, the kids grew up there. But, you know, to have the people come, and it's big tractor trailer trucks, and we've talked to the neighbors. They see the tractor trailer trucks coming down when they deliver it. And there are still kids in the neighborhood. It's a neighborhood, it's not a business, and that's what our problem is. And, you know, I know you said something about the trailers not meaning anything, but there's 3 or 4 trailers there, and he's got containers, I don't even know what they're plastic containers. Who knows what's in those containers? That's our issue. Our issue is we're losing money on our house, and it looks like an eyesore there.
Running a business in a residential neighborhood.
Right, that's our issue. That's it, I don't think, do you have anything else to say?
No,
I think we've sent pictures, we've showed you pictures, like, I don't know what else to say other than that. It looks awful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to speak at all, sir?
No, I'm good. She's pretty much covered.
I spoke for him.
She rules.
Okay. So, the building inspector had notified you to clean up the property, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has the property been cleaned up?
He
For
said
all-
that with
for
the
all
mulch,
The mulch?
but there's still other stuff out there.
Right, but we don't have any control over some tires in the yard or trailers. The trailers aren't registerable vehicles. Well, I shouldn't say that. According to the registry of motor vehicles, they're not commercial vehicles. Because they're towed by a commercial vehicle, that's what we gotta base our guidelines on, okay?
So we're against the second vehicle, then I guess is what we're gonna.
So what he's gonna do, he's gonna stop bringing mulch in as of this meeting. If we allow him to have a secondary truck there on the property, he's not gonna be allowed to store material there anymore. So there's gonna be no more tractor trailers coming down, there's gonna be no more people coming down trying to buy mulch, because there's not gonna be anything there. He's not gonna be allowed to store that stuff there anymore.
Is he gonna be allowed to run a business?
He's gonna be allowed to bring his trucks in and out of his yard.
Okay, so he goes over my property
So
line
we can
every
put a
single,
fence up.
every single day.
Yeah, I
Every day,
don't,
that's on my
okay,
property.
but that's not in our jurisdiction.
No,
If
I
he's driving
understand that,
over your
but we put
property
the
line.
fence up,
I'm
there's
gonna be
no
putting a
issue.
fence up across there. So he isn't gonna be going
You won't really be able to go in or out
across over my
because,
property. But what about the container?
If it's there and it's legitimate, the building inspector has control over that. If he
Okay, so I've
applies,
spoken to Jim already. about it.
if he has a container there, he had to get a permit for it through the building department. Have you done that?
I have that.
Okay.
I have
So
that.
legally, he's entitled to have that container in. What he's got in that container is not our concern. As long as he's up to speed with his permits, and he's got the property cleaned out, by the way, the building inspector, who's the zoning enforcement officer, has told him he's gonna clean the property up. If he's got a storage shed there that he puts his tools in and stuff, that's none of our business. We can't dictate to him what he can put in that shed. So whether he's got gasoline cans, or he's got rakes and shovels, that's not our concern. What the building inspector's trying to get him to do is to clean the property up so it doesn't look the way it had been. And he's not gonna be allowed to put any more storage materials there, even if we allow him to have another commercial vehicle. So the commercial vehicle that he's asking for is only gonna be able to drive in the property, he'll park it, it's a temporary season, I don't know which season.
It's May to November.
Okay, so you got another month.
Yeah, usually it's like that. Usually around Thanksgiving we start.
Do you folks have a problem with him during the summertime with noise or trucks running back and forth in his yard or not?
yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in
He's
the
got the
morning.
backhoe,
Going. He's got
Okay.
a bobcat.
bobcat, so thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody makes in that street noise. Across the my neighbor, he starts a diesel to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. Nobody complains.
Right, but we're not here talking about
No,
you.
I
We're here
understand.
talking about you.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
I've been in there for 26 years. They never complain. They used to park the motorhomes in my property. They park it probably for, I have pictures of that. They park it for probably 20 years. Soon as I tell them to get out, that's when the problems start. They were using my property with no problem at all. I have pictures I can show, and they know that.
I'm kinda getting a picture of what's going on.
Do you want to see the picture?
No, no, I'm getting a good picture of what's going on. All right,
It's,
but in any
soon
case,
as,
let him finish.
soon as I tell them, listen, soon as I tell them, you cannot park in here, you cannot park in here anymore. That's where the problems start.
Okay.
Two things. One thing, he didn't even know where the boundary was until I had,
Okay to have it boundary.
okay, hold on. I had them come down and do a survey exactly where it is. There's no issue. The other issue, what ticked me off the most was when I did a evaluation of the house through the bank, and they came back and told me, you're not getting what you value for the house technically if somebody wanted to buy your house, because he's running a full-fledged business next door to you. The appraisal is less than what it should be. Okay? That's what ticked me off. That's what happened. And then all that was after, about him coming to, saying about the motorhome, whatever. That was after we already had done the evaluation, the appraisal of our property.
Okay. Mr. Almeida, have you ever applied for a business certificate?
Yes, I have.
You've had
I
one?
have.
How long have you
Since-
had, how long have you had a business certificate for?
Probably for 25 years.
Okay, so for most of the time you've been there.
Since I moved in there, I applied for that.
This is the first time the building inspector's been out, the
Yes,
zoning
sir.
enforcement
And
officer's been
he
out.
owns-
Hang on. This is the first time the zoning enforcement officer has been out to your property to ask you to clean anything up in all the years you've been there?
That was it. And he owns a business with his nephew.
No, I do not.
He has
No,
a
I do
trailer.
not.
He has a trailer. He has a trailer and a
I
truck.
do not own that.
And I have pictures.
We don't, oh, your neighbor. This application involves just you and whether or not we're gonna give you a commercial vehicle, another commercial vehicle. I can see what's going on, I ain't naive.
It's looking nice.
So, let's try to keep to what's in the focus over here. All right?
Another couple just came in.
Yeah, I know that. Does anybody else in the audience want to speak for or against this application for?
I'll speak for a minute.
One commercial vehicle, extra commercial vehicle?
Yes, and you know what?
But
If you-
hang on,
Okay, sorry.
we're gonna speak one at a time, and you're gonna come up to the podium, state your name. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer them as best we can.
Okay.
So come on up.
My name, Jeffrey Boardman. I've been in the town since I
What's your
was
address? Address for the record?
born. 40 Lucia Street, Acushnet. And I've been here since I was born. Like I said, I moved once in my life, I moved across the street. Manny's been a friend of mine pretty much since he moved in. I've always known him as a good businessman, good man. If you look at his yard, it's neat and clean. The only thing he has is 2 piles of mulch. That's all he's got over there. It's a little bit of dirt there, but he keeps everything nice and clean. He takes care of his property. And I don't think there should be a problem with him storing some mulch there, because that's where I go get my mulch in the summertime, and I pay him for it, and it's a reasonable price, and he's reasonable with everybody. I don't see why you should take this away from him. That's his business. He's been doing it for 25 years. Why should you take it away from him?
You want me to try to answer that?
You can try.
Okay. Because the bylaw says he can't have the material there. It's right there in the
Okay,
zoning bylaw.
and Rose Lawn
I'm not
doesn't have
trying
any?
to, let me finish.
Okay,
We're not taking anything away from him.
Right.
He's here asking us for an extra commercial vehicle.
Right.
We're not trying to shut his landscaping business down.
right.
The neighbors will complain, or complained about it. The zoning enforcement officer went out there, he took a look at it, sent them a letter and told him to get everything out of there. He's not entitled to have mulch on his property for resale. It's a transfer station, he's not allowed to do it by the zoning bylaws. So
Okay.
we're not trying to stop him from doing something just because he's been doing it for 25 years, that don't make it right.
Oh, I understand that. What
Somebody
can he
just
do
caught
to
up.
make it right?
Somebody just caught up with him, that's the problem.
What can he do to make it right?
Can't.
Relocate to a business zone
I would,
area.
yeah, I would say,
Well, is there zoning in Acushnet? Is it?
Yeah.
is-
absolutely.
Yes.
Really?
That's residential A zoning, where he is.
The whole
Okay.
book right here.
All right, well, I haven't read the book, I'll be honest with you.
You should do yourself a favor, go pick one up, it's like $5.
Um,
And read it.
I was told there was, no zoning in Acushnet. Maybe back in the day, there wasn't.
Long time ago.
That's true.
Yeah, like I said, I've been here for almost 60 years. I've been here 57 years, so. The house that I live in, the guy used to run a car dealership out of it. I had my welding business out of my property.
Before
And-
zoning.
Excuse me?
Before zoning.
Unfortunately.
You tell me, I don't know.
Unfortunately, Jeff, what happens is, there's plenty of small landscape business, small businesses who work
Yeah,
in and out of
taking
town. So,
over.
I run a construction company.
Yeah, you do.
Out of my
Yeah.
home. If you run it and it's small and I only have the one leaded commercial vehicle and, a few trailers and stuff. But
A few
if you
trailers.
do it and you keep it to where, a point where your neighbors aren't bothering you, we're not gonna come bother you.
I don't
Once
see
it
any
becomes a
other neighbors
complaint,
here.
once it becomes a complaint and the zoning officer is sent out there to do his job,
Huh?
we can only give as much as our
The law
jobs let us
the
do.
the law provides.
Which says, you can run this type of business. But when you do it and you make it intrusive, so your neighbors don't like it, makes it very hard for us to say, no, go ahead and continue doing that, knowing you already have an issue.
Yep.
It's, that's where it's at. It's, you've gotta run it in a way that it's tidy and quiet.
How many years ago, if you don't mind me asking, how many years ago did this come into effect?
70s. The
70s?
Yeah, it's really a lot further back than most people think when the zoning was written. It just, there was so many of them that were there and grandfathered, they get slowly put out, you know?
Right.
I'll give you a case in point that everybody knows. You had the Highlander.
Yep.
It was absolutely a business that was run and grandfathered. But as soon as it changes, as soon as anything about it changes, it's not anymore. You can't go ahead and put that back.
All right, what is the change? The change of ownership, or is it the change of business?
Anything.
It could be-
The lot size, the ownership, the
Change of use.
use of any little
Okay.
kind. You're not just grandfathered to have a business because there was one there. It's exactly the same thing, the same way, the same size has to be run. But this, again, I know, you know, I was the zoning officer and the building inspector back when, you know, this stuff was put in. This lot wasn't even created till after zoning was
Right,
put in place.
yeah.
This lot has never been eligible to have a business more than something that would be granted by a special permit.
Okay.
All special permits go only to the owner and only for exactly what they specify they're doing and is written. As soon as anything, again, even ownership changes, they have to come reapply, they have to basically get along with all the neighbors and run it in a way that nobody is put out. Once somebody's put out by it, that's the problem.
All right, well, I said my piece.
Thank
So
you.
you live right across the street from Mr. Almeida?
No,
No, I live up the road from him,
Okay.
probably a quarter mile.
All right, thank you. Does the lady want to have anything to say?
You pretty much said what I wanted to say, so.
Okay. What's in front of us tonight, basically, is whether or not to allow... One more question, not that it makes any difference to me, but why don't you just build a garage and put your trucks inside where they're out of sight?
When I moved in there, it was supposed to be temporary,
Yeah, 25 years ago.
25 years ago.
Yes.
And just things
I'm
keep,
just saying, if you got them in a garage and they're not in sight, we've done it for other businesses in town where we got a guy that lives up the road over here, he keeps his trucks, his backhoes, his bobcats, his whatever, inside. You drive by the guy's house, you don't even know the guy's running a construction site.
that's a good idea too.
I'm just suggesting, because
No, no.
even if we don't allow this to happen tonight, check with the building inspector and ask him his personal opinion.
Okay.
Because then if you're parking the truck indoors and it's not outdoors, it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
Okay.
I'm just throwing you the suggestion, and, you know, I don't know how the board members are gonna wanna react to this, but, you know, normally when we don't get any complaints from the neighbors, we're typically pretty good with that stuff. When we start getting complaints from neighbors, and the building enforcement, the building inspector's been out to the site and forced you to clean the property up before, it doesn't look good for you. And even though you've been there for 26 years, and you've been doing it the same way for 26 years, that doesn't mean that them neighbors have to put up with it. And even though they have, at any moment in time, they can change their minds. So,
Seems though we have something on the agenda for next meeting already, and we're gonna have another meeting. I'm totally not against having 2 commercial vehicles on a property that's very large and can do everything. But, again, we want it to be clean and neat and neighborly and have no complaints. I'd like to postpone a decision on this, so myself at least, and anybody else who could do a site visit and take a look at the property myself and see how intrusive he's being to the neighbors before I make a decision on the extra vehicle.
I personally don't have a problem with that, because
we're posting and it's not an extra cost.
It would give you a little bit of time to check with the building inspector to see if you could put a second vehicle on that property as long as you had a garage without a special permit. See what his opinion. As a matter of fact, I'll give him a call. I'll ask him.
Okay.
There's some things to think about. I tend to agree with you. I mean, we got a meeting next month anyway. It's not like we're gonna have to come here out of our way to make a yes or no decision on this. Otherwise, I would say we'll just vote it tonight.
The thing I'm inclined to do is if I see the property and he wants to have another vehicle, it looks like a really big property. And I'm guessing the issue is he's keeping it down the end of the cul-de-sac, which is on, next to their property, and looks like their property. And if we can bring it closer to where the container is and allow the extra use, but in a certain area, so that they don't have to look at it outside of their bedroom window or whatever, maybe we can make a stipulation. You can keep an extra vehicle on the yard, keep it over here. Keep it, behind your container, next to your container, whatever, I don't know. So that it's, you've got what you want and it's not being intrusive and giving them an eyesore and devaluating their property.
Can you folks can you see that container from outside your back window?
Yeah.
So your backyard is facing,
You're the end of the cul-de-sac, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beyond?
which way?
And again, you've got
Which
the
way?
end of the cul-de-sac and then the mulch piles and everything he's doing
Yeah.
is down on their side yard.
Correct.
Right. So
If he brings it a little closer to his house, and again, I don't wanna guess that from this picture, but if I drive by and look at it and it's a wooded area and everything can be cleaned up a little, again, the extra vehicle's not an issue for me. It's about making the neighbors see eye to eye and
Make sure he maintains the
having
property.
everybody happy at the same time.
And we don't wanna cause grief between the neighbors. We're trying to settle as much as we can here,
Can I
but
say something?
sometimes playing Dr. Phil don't work all that well.
They have so much stuff outside too.
Listen.
That's why I'd
Let's
like
stay
to look
within-
at the property.
Stay within the scope of the meeting. The meeting's about you having a commercial vehicle, not what their property looks like. It's not what your property looks like. I mean, they made some statements. You've cleaned it up. Does it meet their satisfaction? I don't know. Maybe some of the board members want to take a ride by there and see what it looks like, so they get a better idea what the property looks like now. I don't think it's a bad idea. We got a meeting set up anyhow, so we're gonna be here. Well, I may not, but. And do you want to make a motion?
I did, I made a motion to continue to next meeting.
Is Mr.
So we can
Almeida, for this, are you for this decision that we're making?
That's fine, ma'am. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah, you have to ask for a continuance.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let the applicant ask for the continuance, because if we make the motion, we gotta make a decision with a certain amount of time. If he makes the motion, or asks us to make the motion for continuance, it's on his request, and we get as much time as we need.
If you ask for continuance, I'll be more likely to go take a look at the property and grant your application.
Okay, so let's go continue for next month then.
Okay.
What,
All right, so
what day?
motion to continue?
Second.
Motion, yeah.
Oh, who's made it? I thought you made it, right?
All in favor?
Second, yeah. Aye.
Okay, so she's got a letter of continuance for you to sign here, right?
Okay,
We're looking at, we can't do the 5th, 'cause it's election day. Do you want the 12th, the day after
Yeah, I don't
Veterans
care.
Day, or the 19th?
I don't care, I'm probably not gonna be here.
Anybody have preference? The day after Veterans Day or the following
Still a
Tuesday, the
Tuesday?
19th? Both are
Which
Tuesdays.
means that,
Okay.
Well, actually, the Monday's meetings, if the selectmen, well, they meet Tuesdays now. Either way, it doesn't matter if we could do the
What is
12th
it,
or
the
the
first
19th.
Tuesday or the second Tuesday?
Well, the first Tuesday's election day,
Yeah.
so
All right,
we can't
second-
meet. So it's gonna be either the 2nd or the 3rd.
November, okay.
Okay, so the 12th will be the day after Veterans Day.
okay, and then
11, 12.
everybody will be notified of that meeting again, just like they were this time.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to hear this all over again, you four members would have to be here to vote on that, because Mark didn't hear the meeting tonight, so, and he'll be back in town next month, but he's out of town this right now.
Make sure I'm here.
Okay.
Is a-
Motion to adjourn?
Not yet, no, did you sign the paper?
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
You can sign this one, I'm gonna have you sign one more too, let me just
Okay.
get it filled out for you. copies? Okay. This one, and you can keep that one in there.
Okay, so everybody will be notified for the next meeting by mail. Bring your friends if you want to. We don't have any further business. Do we have any old business you'd like to discuss?
Nope, nope.
Any new business you want to discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.